It is our first steam room of 2025, and it is a dandy. Man,
I am so glad to be back.
Talking NFL with Matt Ryan, talking NBA and life with Masai Ujiri, president of the Toronto Raptors.
I missed you.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah, well, it's great to see you again.
It's great man. I missed the steam room and everybody. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be here, and still trying to navigate how you say Happy New Year. It's already the 7th. Is it still?
First of all, we had this argument earlier. If you haven't seen people, you can say Happy New Year.
How about if you don't see them until May?
That's not the same. That's not the same. We've been off for a week or so. This is the first time I've seen these people. I said, Happy New Year, everybody. And you're like, what's the date? You can say that the
January
latest.
7th, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you can still do that.
Man, can I just say Happy New Year and leave me alone?
Leave you alone?
How about this? The audience ain't seen us. Happy New Year, audience. Is that all right?
Your pod.
Okay. Our pod.
Our pod.
Our pod.
But we begin our pod.
Yes.
With, first of all, and look at the sheet with your notes.
Mary Kendall Parker.
Yeah, when she gave you the stationery.
I found it. I had hid it, and I found it. Thank you, Mary Kendall Parker.
It was probably underneath that big old calendar you got.
Ernie, my calendar's got some stuff on it now.
Good.
Ernie,
what?
I like walking by my big calendar, seeing stuff. I don't want to look on my phone for stuff.
You know who has a massive calendar you need to get?
Who is that?
Jesse Itzler.
Why do I know that name?
Atlanta Hawks. Ownership group.
Okay. No, I'm happy with my big old board.
Jesse's a motivational dude.
I know.
We need to have him on. We're going to have him on the pod at some point.
Let's do it.
He is really an entertaining guy, full of energy. Remember, his wife is the Spanx.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah. We need to have Jesse on here.
Jamie Gertz, the actress. Mm-hmm. I met her at a Hawks game. What a sweet lady. She used to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet lady, Jamie Gertz. Yeah. And Sarah, I think the girl you talking about who owns Spanx is
Sarah Blakely.
Yeah, Sarah Blakely. But Jamie Gertz was so awesome. Because I
met her at an event with the Hawks last year when they were dedicating or announcing that the YMCA would be on their jerseys, all the sponsorship.
Okay.
Had a bunch of kids from the Y out there.
Shout out to the Hawks ownership group.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, first of all.
Well, I'm going to start with some sadness before I rip a couple people.
Wow, what an agenda you have.
Well, I want to,
first of all.
because some of this stuff is just, man, it drives me crazy.
All right.
I'm going to start out saying, this is the first time we had a chance. We talked about on the show, going to miss Greg Gumble, man. Oh, man, that hurt me so bad. Man, what a wonderful person to work with. I'm going to miss his jokes. I'm going to miss him talking about the Rolling Stones.
His professionalism.
His class, and just, man, I got some great texts from people saying, man, this would hurt a lot who worked with him at all the years at CBS.
Because it was so different last year, Chuckster, when we did March Madness.
It was.
And
we didn't even know he was sick.
No, we just knew he was dealing with a family medical issue.
And I texted him a couple times. He always said, hey, I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
And then when I got the text the other day, it broke my heart, man. And so Greg Gumble, rest in peace. I wish Brian, his brother, nothing but peace during this difficult time. And I reached out to Clark Kellogg, who obviously spent way more time with him than we did. And just want to give my best to the Gumble family and the CBS family, man, and everybody who worked with a true gentleman. All right. The NCAA. Just when I thought y'all couldn't it up even more, y'all are not gonna count junior college now. So guys gonna be in college for 7-8 years now. First of all, listen, man, COVID's over. Y'all gotta get some of these kids out of college, man. Y'all need to stop it, man. Some of these kids I've seen, if you're gonna be in college 6-7 years, you should be a doctor, not a basketball player, not a football player. And then this ruling where junior college doesn't count now. And
so you can do a couple of JUCO years and then be a freshman?
Yes.
Is that do I follow this correctly?
Yes. And there's a great explanation by a college baseball coach on the internet. He says, this is so wrong on many levels, because what's going to happen is we're not even going to recruit high school kids anymore. We're going to tell kids to go to junior college so they can play against better competition, get bigger, stronger, then come play 4 years at our school. So NCAA, man, I don't know what y'all doing. We already got the wild, wild west because of y'all this NIL thing, because a guy got a pair of sneakers and a piece of bacon and a bagel, and y'all suspended him. And now we got pay for play. Come on, man. Just when I thought y'all couldn't get any more stupid, y'all become stupider. And I know stupider, I'm not sure it's the word, but I made it up. Hey, some of these guys on televisions are clowns in the media. I got to admit, man, and listen, I try to be fair. I try to always be honest, but one thing I never want to do is BS. So watching these guys moonwalk like Michael Jackson after they selected the teams for the 12-man playoffs, which I've enjoyed. Then y'all tried to crap on Indiana when they got beat. Y'all tried to crap on SMU when they got beat. But then those teams y'all thought should have been in, they got beat. Y'all crushed Indiana and SMU when they lost tough games on the road, I might add. But then y'all like, they shouldn't have been in. They shouldn't have been in.
And then all 4 teams that had byes lost, right?
Now, that was my second part on here. Now, all the 4 teams that lost, who got by, they lost. That's the one thing about our job, man. A lot of you guys just talk out of both sides of your mouth. And listen, I don't want to bring up a good thing, but y'all had Ryan Day fired after that Michigan game. Y'all had him fired. Yes, you did. I can make him repeat it. Can you repeat that? No, y'all had Ryan Day fired. You want me to repeat it? I don't need to repeat it. Oh, that's from Few Good Men, if y'all don't remember. Y'all had that man fired, and he's balling right now.
You can't handle the truth.
You can say it exactly right. And now, my new favorite. Y'all coming out to Jerry Jones because he told Mike McCarthy he can look around. Y'all the same people that had Mike McCarthy fired and gave Deion his job like 6 weeks ago. Y'all like, Deion would be great with the Cowboys when the Cowboys were struggling. So, man, what is it? Why are y'all so full of it? And I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying the public got to be smarter and realize a lot of these guys on television just talk. Like, oh, man, can you believe how Jerry Jones he told Mike McCarthy, hey, you want to interview for another job? Go ahead. I says, y'all had this dude fired. Y'all had him fired like 6 weeks ago. Y'all said Deion Sanders would be a perfect fit for the Cowboys. Deion Sanders said it. Y'all said it, right? Deion said, I'm happy at Colorado. No, Deion, come get this Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy actually had the job. Because that's the one, I've always had 2 rules on television. I'm never going to say somebody should get fired, and I never talk about guys' personal life. But the one thing I ain't never going to do is be inconsistent. So you guys need to check yourself, man.
That was one rambling take.
I know. I got one more to go.
Okay.
Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga, y'all got to stop it, man. Y'all got to stop it, man. That song, Die With a Smile, I cannot stop. I done played that thing 1,275 times. Bruno, when you go with that thing, boy, when you start singing a cappella, and Lady Gaga, I'm a fan, but Bruno Mars, man, you know I love you. I impersonated you when we did karaoke.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, when we did the
but I don't know if I can do this song karaoke. I don't know. I don't know if it's in here.
You did it in lip sync. You didn't do karaoke.
Yeah, but I don't even know if I can lip sync this thing he got going with Lady Gaga right now. But Bruno, you got to stop, man, because you just got me gonna hurt myself trying to sing that note. But that's one of the best songs I've ever heard. Thank y'all for that thing, man. Keep it going, you two. Y'all are fantastic. Woo! Nature Boy, I'm done.
Where did that come from?
Oh, I had to blow off my steam. I had a lot of woo.
That's outstanding.
Thank you.
That was a jam-packed. First of all,
it was
a lot of passion.
Happy
a lot
New
of passion.
Year.
Yeah, you were into.
I mean, you know what? I'm not watching the NBA right now. I just started my prep for March Madness. You
can do both.
No, you need to concentrate. I've seen every NBA team play. Unfortunately, I've seen a bunch of y'all play.
Very
but now
good.
It's time to get ready for March Madness.
And to get ready for the NFL playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Matt Ryan will be joining us in the steam room
Yes.
on this latest episode. What season is this? Is this 6 or 7?
This 6 or 7.
Wow.
Wow.
6
Can't
seasons.
believe they.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves on a 7 season.
I thought we'd fire you after 3 seasons. and me after 5. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're back inside the steam room, and this is a rarity when we actually have a live guest
That
here
is.
in the steam room.
I think-
And mainly that's because the studio is so small, we can hardly fit a guest. But Matt Ryan joins us. And, man, it's good to see you again. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me in.
He only works 1 day a week.
That's the beauty of
he's like
the
us.
NFL.
Yeah.
He's only works 1 day a week. He has 6 days to do nothing.
No,
It's 20 days a year, Chuck. Don't shortchange it, all right? That's where we're at
20
right now.
whole
That's
days?
20 whole days.
That sounds even worse.
Do you ever feel
Yeah.
guilty when you get the check?
Yes, it's like I'm awfully appreciative of the job. There's no doubt
You
about
just
it.
started,
but-
though. I'm on year 25 stealing.
Yeah.
I'm not as bad as him.
Yeah, I'm year 35, 36 stealing.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
it's a
question.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Working for CBS Sports, doing the NFL Today, and number one, how's it going TV-wise? But number two, it's playoff time, man. You're
Yeah.
still, for the time being, at least still in your 30s at 39.
Yes.
But so what's the time of year like? And does this kind of tug at you?
Yeah, playoff time for sure.
Nothing
I'm
like
sure when you're fresh out of it, it's this is what you dreamed of as a player, being in big games late in the year, and so that's the hardest thing. I think it's a little bit easier being in studio where you're not in the arena, in the stadium, feeling kind of the energy. It's a little bit more contained, but you're jealous of the players out there because there's no feeling like it. NFL playoffs are a different level of intensity, and so it's going to be fun to watch.
See, and I actually agree with him because I actually think the Super Bowl is the hardest trophy to win in sports because in all the other sports, this is the only sport was a one and done scenario. Like in hockey and baseball and basketball, you can lose 3 games and still win the championship. Like there's such a suddenness to losing. The only thing I can equate it to is losing a game 7.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's over. You busted your hump for all these months. But the finality of watching NFL playoffs, I'm like, man, that is brutal. You put all that time in, and then after 1 game is over.
Yeah, it's 4. I mean, if you don't get the bye, you got to win 4 game 7s to get it dand and so that's the hardest part. I think. As a fan, I always think it's so much fun to watch a series.
Yeah.
Where you see it play out, and more often than not, the best team's going to win. Right, that 7-game sample size.
Yes.
The cream is going to rise to the top, and that's not always the case. Like in the NFL, the best team doesn't always win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. It's about getting hot at the right time and just getting the ball to bounce your way once or twice throughout the playoffs. So it's fun because you don't know what it's going to happen. It's more like March Madness. You guys have done that forever, right?
100%.
Where it's just this, one and done type of thing, and sometimes it's a little bit fluky, but it sure is entertaining to watch.
I wanted to get into something real quick, Chuckster, because I rudely interrupted Matt before we started this segment. Because he was getting into telling a story about starting out in this business, and was it the first game that you did?
First game I did. So I was calling games with Andrew Catalan and Tiki Barber, and AJ Ross was our sideline reporter, and so we're doing a preseason game, Carolina Panthers versus the Detroit Lions. I have zero idea of what I'm doing, no idea how it's going to work or whatever. It's my first time really working with an IFB in the year. You've got somebody talking to you. And so we're getting ready to do the open for the show, and they're counting us in, right? Hey, 3 minutes to air, have a great show, blah, 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 blah. So we go like 30 seconds in, and Catalan, Andrew great guy, awesome guy, awesome person to work with for the first time doing it because he kind of held my hand through it. But we're 30 seconds out from air, and then it gets to 15 seconds, and he starts doing these vocal exercises, which I didn't know was coming.
Really?
And so he's like, and he's doing this next to me, and I'm like, dude, you good? Like, you gonna be good? We're going on air in like 10 seconds. And I guess it was just his routine. He gave me no real heads up for it beforehand. So I started sweating. I started getting nervous or whatever. I'm curious for you guys. Any on air, like before it comes on, any ticks that go on beforehand?
No, but I will tell you this.
Oh, we have one little thing that we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and Ernie
that we
do
stole from
something.
Pedro Martinez because Pedro does it
Me
to
and Ernie
me
look
when
at
we're
each other
doing
and
baseball.
said, yeah.
I like that.
But
I
you know
like
what's
that.
so funny about that vocal thing? So the first time we started doing March Madness, we do the seminar in New York, and everything's great and great. They said at the end, well, we got a vocal coach here.
Yeah.
And we looking at him like, what's a vocal coach?
I like this guy.
We're not trying to sing.
I like that guy.
He was a very nice man. And he starts telling us, like, he calls a couple people up to do these exercises. They're like, oh.
It must be the same guy.
I don't remember that one.
Yes, I remember that one.
But I do. You know what I do remember? He suggested these bad boys,
the ones you live and die by?
These Grethers, for your throat.
That is good product placement right there.
First of all, Ernie lives and dies by.
No, these are by my side all the time when we're.
He's never not have those things.
Okay.
These are for throat and voice. That's what it says on. It says it on the deal.
They go together.
For throat and voice.
Yeah, they're together, Ernie. So does lozenges.
How do you get more bass? How do you get more bass in your voice?
Real quick.
That's what
Camera one.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh my God, Kenny. This is the white Kenny Smith right here.
It's Grethers or nothing at all.
See, this is.
Look at the smile.
See.
That's really good.
Matt, this is Kenny Smith right here, influencing Ernie. Anytime. Kenny always wants free stuff.
I would have brought more props had I known this was the way it was going to go.
Well, we never know how it's going to go exactly. We really
perfect.
don't.
Yes.
No, we have so much fun because when we started doing this podcast, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. Not gonna lie.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's
Chuck.
that's what Matt thinks right now too.
I'd agree.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have never listened to a podcast.
Okay. You're like one of the only people out there. Mm-hmm. So you are one of one.
So, what type of podcast do you listen to?
I listen to a little bit of everything. Part of my take guys on Barstool. Yeah. Shout out to them. I mean, they say no free ads all the time. So sorry, that's a free ad for them. I like listening to them. They've got some outrageous takes, but I like those guys. Have gone on with them quite a bit. Of course, the Steam Room. I mean, that's everyone. Right?
You got that one right at the top of the list.
That's right, number one. I like golf stuff too. I like the guys from No Laying Up. I've met a bunch of those guys. So that's like my guilty pleasure, right? Golf, kind of check out from football and kind of listen to some mindless stuff when I'm driving in the car.
So I find it very difficult when you first retire. Like, obviously TB for you, but like all this free time you have.
Yeah.
There's no OTs. Is it OTAs?
OTAs, yeah.
And there's no summer training camp. Like, I know you're a really good golfer. You're kind of a mooch, to be honest with you. Because when we played at Sean McDonald, shout out to Sean McDonald, who is one of the coolest people.
Yes.
And he's one of the best to ever do it. I put him up there with Ernie as far as being able to the diversity to go. Kevin Harlan,
yes.
Brian Anderson.
Yeah.
The ability to go from sport to sport and not miss a beat. I always found that fascinating. But so we went out and played.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of cheated on your handicap. See that?
What are you talking about? You weren't getting enough shots?
I wasn't getting enough shots.
What are you playing to?
I think I'm like a +1.
Oh my!
What do you want me to do?
I want you.
I'm not that good.
Get out of here!
Yeah, you're a +1.
You're not allowed in here.
A +1.
Man,
a +1 is impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but
see, you can
but
always
it's not
tell
that good.
when people start.
Golly,
+1.
This is just. We're not playing.
Let's talk about
you
your
don't
game.
have to sell us on anything.
I'm playing
right
better.
Now.
I'm playing really well. I'm playing really well.
When we played in Boston, you played really well.
I got a great lesson the other day. I got a playing lesson from Stan Utley.
You said he changed your life.
He changed my life.
Yes.
Like I was terrified. When I was standing over the golf ball, I had like 6 guys talking to me. I mean, I'd never been in that situation before where I was scared to do anything.
Yeah.
I was literally standing over the golf ball, like I'm gonna hit somebody. I'm gonna kill somebody. I might shank this ball. I might. Then I'm like I had given up.
Yeah.
And I met Stan, and he changed the entire dynamic of my life. And we had a great playing lesson last week. I can't wait to get home.
So what you guys work on?
Well, the first thing he did, he called me a coward.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way
He's
to
been
start.
doing that for a while.
Yeah.
And he'll say that when we're playing, he'll say that to himself after. Oh, Chuck, you're such a coward.
The commentary after his shots is some of my favorite stuff when you're playing.
Because, man, I was scared to go play golf. Like, when we first got together, I'd be on the range for 3-4 hours just hitting golf balls.
Yeah.
And finally, one day, he said to me, "You're scared to play golf, aren't you?"
Scared to go out on the course.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says, "You're a coward." And I said, "What?" He says, "Chuck, we can go out here and bang golf balls for hours." Because like I say, I would go practice for hours.
Right.
I'm talking 3 or 4 hours. I'm just
Striping everything.
Yeah. And when I would get on the course and there's trees here or there's water here, I'm like, yo, this is terrifying. And that was probably the biggest turning point. He said, we're going to go play golf. We're going to try to hit golf shots. And like I say, Hank was a terrific teacher. Terrific teacher.
Yeah.
But when Stan said, we're going to go on the golf course, we're not going to spend all our time on the range.
Yeah, it's not technical.
It's
man.
not, because there's no water on the range.
Right.
Yeah, there's no water, there's no trees.
No little downhill lie. Exactly.
Isn't it so funny in golf, though, like, you know, you play football forever, and people ask me all the time, you know, how nervous were you for playing in this playoff game or playing in the Super Bowl or whatever? And obviously there's like some nerves that come with it, but not that nervous, right?
Yeah.
Because I always felt like I knew what I was doing.
But I know what you're getting ready to say.
And you were
But then
prepared.
you tee off at the American Century, right, on the first tee, and they call your name, and they're like,
Yeah.
like why?
Yeah, you know, it's, Matt, I tell people, and not just Lake Tahoe, when I play like in a pro-am, and then you play with these idiots in these pro-ams, and they're like right here.
Yeah.
And after that's
We're
when
not
it's
that
terrifying.
good. Yes.
Like, but anytime you play in front of, because you got an ego.
You're a performer.
You want to perform.
Yes.
You want to play well. And like I say, I'm so man. That's the best week of the year in Lake
So
Tahoe.
much fun. So much fun.
So here we go. Football playoffs begin. So the teams with the byes, right? Kansas City and Detroit.
Yes.
Kansas City,
Right?
Detroit.
Right.
Yes.
And we talk about the best team maybe doesn't always win the Super Bowl. Who's the best team right now?
I mean,
Matt, you know where you from.
I grew up in Philadelphia.
That's exactly what you better say then.
But I never played for the Eagles, man.
I know, but
My team's not in it,
we are the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
I like. Let me start with the Eagles.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go on my analysis of the Eagles. I agree with you. I love the way that they play. They come out, they're going to run the ball down your throat, and they're unabashed in how they go about it. Saquon Barkley had one of the most impressive seasons I've seen, and I think probably changed the trajectory, because you remember last year they start out, they have this unbelievable start, and then they just go in the tank. And I think Howie Roseman did a great job of going out and finding a piece to come in to kind of be a catalyst to change that for them. So I love how they run the football. Defense is playing really, really well. My one concern is Jalen Hurts missing the last 2 games coming in with the concussion. It's like, okay, we got a clear protocol this week.
Yeah.
We got to come back. We got to play, right away.
Which just scares me, because I heard he hasn't even cleared concussion protocol.
Yeah. So as we're kind of doing this right now,
it's crazy.
It's up in the air.
Yes, it's up in the air. I think he'll be ready to go. It's been 2 weeks, but you never know. Like with the head injury, you don't know how it's going to be. I like that they're matching up with Green Bay, though, right? Because Green Bay's dealing with the same thing on their side. Injuries all over the place. Injury to the Christian Watson at the wide receiver position. But there's a big question mark of, how Jordan Love's elbow is going to be being hurt in that last game. So I think they win that first matchup. I really do. But you can't tell me you watched Detroit play the other night against Minnesota and tell me that.
Man, I love Dan Campbell.
I love Dan Campbell. I love the way that they play. I love, they come off the bus and they're ready to, punch you right in the mouth. And so love the attitude and kind of just the mindset that they play with. If I'm going to be a little bit concerned, I mean, it's the injuries on the defense for Detroit. I think that adds up. But they were aggressive the other night, man. They took it to Minnesota.
Aaron Glenn did it.
Awesome
They
job.
had my man
Sam Darnold, don't say it. He has that clip of him seeing ghosts. Don't go there.
Yeah, I know. I would never go there.
We're not going there.
But how much of an advantage, Matt, is that week off? Because, again, everybody else is knocking the bark off each other this week, and then you get to sit and watch. How much of an advantage is that?
I think it depends on the maturity of your football team, right? And so I think both teams that got it are mature football teams that can handle a little bit of rest, a little bit of time off, taking your foot off the gas just a hair, and then being able to rev it back up. I was a part of two teams that in Atlanta that we had, that first round bye. And the first time we went through it, we didn't do so hot, right? Like it was a younger football team. It was our first time kind of experiencing that. And we ran into the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round after the bye and got steamrolled by them. They went on to, win the Super Bowl. The second time, I think we were better served. We understood that the week of practice, during that bye week had to be intense, right? Like you couldn't really take your foot off the gas. You had to keep it full throttle to stay in rhythm. I think both the teams that have it this year are built that way. Like Dan Campbell's, he's not going to screw this up. He's going to know how to have his guys ready to play. And then on the other side, in the AFC, you got Andy Reid, who knows how to do this every year. They seemingly have that one seed every year.
So what it sounds like to me, you go hard to easy instead of easy to hard.
Yes.
Because like I can understand that because like you got the week off, you're like, okay, let me go hard, but then next week I'm gonna ease into it. And then you kind of lose your intensity.
Yes, you don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how it is in basketball, right? But like in football, people talk about mid-season form all the time. That's real, in my opinion. You play yourself into kind of football shape throughout the year, and it's not necessarily conditioning or running or any of those things, but it's taking hits, it's being physical, it's being locked in, play in after play. From one play to another for 60 minutes and not flinching. I think you do play yourself into that. And it's amazing, at least in a football perspective, how quickly that can go if you're not doing it every week, right? And so I think it's on those staffs to kind of keep you locked in that way. I don't think you want to take your, mentally, I don't think you want to take your foot off the gas. I think physically it's good to get that rest and come out fresh, but in all honesty, a week's not going to change much. You're banged up this time of the year. You need more than a week.
So you're still living in the Atlanta area, live in Buckhead, not far from here. And I'm not trying to open up an old wound, but how often do folks talk to you about the Super Bowl, about that New England game, about 28-3, blah, 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 blah?
A lot.
Really? Still?
I mean, still. You hear
8 years later.
8 years later. It's a talking point, and so
a talking point.
It's a conversation starter.
That's an icebreaker.
Not on my end, but for some other people.
Go up and ask him about this.
It's a conversation starter. Hey, Matt, 28-3, and you're like, all right, and so obviously comes up quite a bit, but it's one of those things. I don't know how it is with you, Chuck, right? Like, when you're so close and you don't get it done, and in the fashion that we didn't get it done, it's something that I think is always a part of you, right? It never goes.
No,
it never goes.
It never goes away. Because for me, with the Bulls, I go back and think about the last quarter in my mind, and there was 3 plays I would like to have back where I wasn't aggressive. I accepted the double team, and I was like, should I have tried? I made a good basketball play. But I was saying to myself, do you trust yourself against 2 guys or somebody else? And so it's irrelevant.
But that ate at you for a while?
To this day.
Really?
To this day it eats at me. I'm like, because I should have been aggressive against Scotty and Horace. And I was like, because I couldn't see anything, but I made a good basketball decision. I was like, no, I should have been aggressive, selfish and aggressive. At least if I turn it over, I'd feel better about me screwing up.
I'm with you. We had a play in the end of that game where I hit Julio Jones on the sideline. Unbelievable catch. He goes up over top a defender, toe taps, and we get the ball down around the 20, and we had a 3-play sequence after that pushed us out of field goal range, where if we would have kicked that thing, I mean, it's pretty much over. And you think back, we took a sack on one of those. What could I have done, right? It was a quick sack, so it's a hard one to get rid of it. But I'm like you. Maybe I could have done this. Maybe I could have done whatever. Maybe we could have run the football. I think those are things that ultimately, when it doesn't work out for you, at least for me as a player, like I remember more of those kind of things,
Yeah.
whether it's in that one game or some of the others, like the opportunities missed more than some of the great shots you hit or some of the great passes that you made. It's just, I feel like you're tortured as an athlete that way.
MVP. This is probably going to be the closest one.
So we're going to the hard-hitting questions. I think it's the closest race I can remember.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the close. If you had a vote,
Which I don't. But if I had a vote, and I've gone back and forth because we've talked about it on our show for like the last month, who you voting for? And in true, analyst fashion, I've said both guys at different times. At one point I thought it was Lamar. At one point I thought it was Josh. I went back to Lamar. The sample size is in at this point. And if it were me, if I had to vote, after a lot of spirited debate that we've had amongst our crew.
And there's no right or wrong answer.
No, listen, I mean, you can make any argument you want. Lamar deserves it? Absolutely. Josh deserves it? Absolutely. If I had to vote, I think it would be Josh Allen. Given the expectation on that football team coming into the season and where they ended up. And that would be maybe the thing that puts it over the top. I think Lamar's numbers are better. I think he's had some more outstanding plays.
Yeah.
Although Josh has plenty of those as well. But I think given what we thought of that team coming into the season and how they performed and navigating the injuries on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball that they had all year, that would be where I would net out.
See, and it's I'm talking to my friends and they're like, what do you think? I says, I would vote for Josh if I had a vote for the simple thing. I said, number one, they got a better record.
Yeah.
And I said, number one, he didn't get Derrick Henry.
Right.
And every person on television thought when they lost Stephon Diggs that they would regress this year.
And there's they were better.
Yeah, and I said, wait a minute, we talking winning? Well, like I say, Lamar's tremendous.
Correct.
I said, but say he got a better record, and he didn't get Derrick Henry, who's a monster. And I says, everybody picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl when they got Derrick Henry.
Right.
Everybody's like, well, the Bills are going to regress losing Stephon Diggs, and they were even better.
They were better.
Yes.
They were better.
Do they vote on this the same way they do in the NBA? Is it a regular season
Yes.
award?
It's a regular season award.
So the votes are in?
The vote, I don't know when they actually do the vote, but it's based off of just regular season
I would
performance.
think so. I would think so.
I'm
With
sure
the
those
playoffs
guys who
starting
have
this
voted.
week, so nobody could
retroactively say that game was pretty good in the first round.
But that's how I said, the votes should have to be in before the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm.
Because if somebody has a good game and you change your vote, I was like, that's total bullshit.
Let me ask you guys a Saquon Barkley question, and you would know this better than I did. But he did not
got a great name.
He did not play the last game of the year, right?
Yeah.
With a chance to break Eric Dickerson's record. Was this his decision, or was this the team saying, "Hey, look, it's not going to change where we are playoff-wise, so we're going to rest"? Yeah.
It's a good decision.
So who made the decision? Because I'm saying, if that was his decision, I applaud that. I love seeing somebody who's but the most important thing is that we're ready and everybody's healthy going in.
Number one, two things. Early in the season, it might have been against the Giants.
Yeah, he didn't
had
play.
A chance to set his personal record. That game was out of hand, and he needed like another 10 yards for the most yards he's ever had. And they were up like 3 touchdowns. And they had a mic on him. The coach came over and said to him, hey, you're about 7 to 10 yards short of your personal best. He says, no, Coach, we got the game out of hand. And that tells me what kind of kid he is.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I agree. To answer your question, the organization makes that decision, right? So it's probably a combination of front office and head coach saying,
Big picture.
Here's the big picture. We have a legitimate chance to go win a Super Bowl. And if they don't have him, if
they got no chance.
I think their chance goes maybe not no chance, but it becomes very, very slim.
But that is that something where they would sit him down too and say, hey, look, we know how close you are. I know the record books are waiting if you have a little over 100 yards or
101.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yes, they definitely sit him down and say, hey, here's what we're thinking. We've got an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. I know this personal record is important to you, but you are too important to our team to not have you available for the playoffs if, God forbid, something were to happen during that game. And you know what, though? from a player's perspective, every championship team, every championship coach or player has always talked about after that championship the sacrifices that they had to make in order to win that team, team championship. And it's a hard sacrifice to make because history, being the all-time leading rusher in the history of the NFL is incredibly significant. But I think that's one of the sacrifices you make, and he has handled it, incredibly professionally. And I'm hoping he goes out and balls
Ernie,
out in the playoffs.
And you know what I hated about this debate? Because I had to go to Philly this weekend to do Jason Kelsey's new show. So I was this front
page. Way to slide that promo in.
You guys are pros at this. I'm learning a lot today.
But what really has bothered me about this entire conversation, to be honest with you, is I know how the fools on television work because I'm one of them. Matt's one of them.
Indeed you are.
No, let me just tell you this. These guys, if Saquon Barkley had went out there and got hurt,
oh man,
we would have crushed him. This is what I hate about these guys on television who act like we're always in a win-win situation because we know what happened.
Yeah.
If Saquon Barkley had went out there and got hurt, we would have crushed him. The guys how could he be selfish? The game didn't mean anything. Right. That's the thing I hate about this whole dynamic. As much as I love our job, I hate the double standard that exists.
Yeah.
In the time, and it's short, that we have remaining, a couple of personal things. Number one, in high school, this guy, senior year, captain of the football, basketball, and baseball teams.
You were a pitcher?
Yeah. No,
pitched and played shortstop.
He was the captain of.
Well, I just say you had to be a pitcher if you got
pitcher and shortstop. Yeah.
Okay.
And so how tough was it to get a date?
Did all right. We did all right.
Wait, if I remember, you married a twin, right?
No. I have twins. I married my wife.
What's the difference?
No,
my wife's sister is married to my brother.
Okay.
That was Chuck and I were.
Okay,
we were having a good time in Boston. You met one of my sister-in-laws.
I did.
Yes.
She was awesome.
Yes,
I tell you
Adam,
what a great story.
Yes.
So great story, Ernie. I'd never been around Matt before. So we go to Sean McDonough's golf tournament.
Another shout out to Sean McDonough.
Yeah, love Sean. Both of our flights get delayed by like 2 hours.
Yes.
So Sean always takes us to a really nice Italian place, all the bells and whistles, all the celebrities. We have a great time. But this year, me and Matt late. We show up, it's like 10 o'clock. And we just check into the hotel at the same time. We look at each other like, bar?
Yes.
Like, great idea, Matt. And we sit there for a couple hours, and I was saying, I said, man, I've been telling people, I said, man, what a good dude, because I had never spent any time around him before. He had his sister-in-law with him. We had great conversation for a couple hours. Then the fools show up about 2 hours later. And ruin me and Matt's special night.
That's
it was
right.
pretty cool.
We were having a good intimate setting, and then all of the riffraff came back.
Exactly.
All of the riffraff.
Asked all those questions about what it's like to marry a twin and the whole.
That's
right.
Good. That's exactly right.
It's great seeing you, man.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Guys, man. This was
for
fun
being
today.
here.
So what game you got this weekend?
So CBS 4:30 is Saturday 4:30. Chargers play the Texans, and then Sunday at 1:00. Broncos play the Bills. So we're the
got two great
pregame
games.
lead-ins. Yeah, really good games. Really good games.
And when it's all said and done, Super Bowl champion is?
I learned last year, don't bet against the Chiefs. They know how to win.
Well, I didn't learn my lesson.
Chuck has said the same thing.
Pat Mahomes killed me. He says, Chuck, did I hear you bet against me 3 games in a row? I said, yes, I did. I had the Bills, I had the Ravens, and I had San Fran.
Listen, man, they know how to win. They know how to close. Yeah. And, until somebody knocks them off, I'm not changing my pick.
Say hey to JB and the gang.
I will.
There,
Thank you, guys.
And
thank you for taking the time, brother.
When you're in there this Sunday, it's Grethers or nothing at all.
You can
hold that smile for a long time.
You can expect a shipload of those bad boys.
I hope, because they're expensive.
Where do you get those at, Ernie?
I order them online.
Amazon.
They'll let you know something expensive when you just can't go in a store and get it.
No doubt. You
That's
can't
right.
find those anywhere. They're not selling those at Walgreens.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
You can pop into the CVS and get them. How long can you hold that smile?
Back here inside the steam room, Ernie Johnson and
One of my
Charles Barkley.
favorite people in the world.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the sport. It's just, when you're talking about folks who are in the NBA, who you could sit and talk to forever.
He's great at his job, but one of my favorite people in the world.
Great human being.
Yes.
Is Masai Ujiri, the president of the Toronto Raptors, who was kind enough to join us here in the steam room. You've been on before. It was back in 2020. So you already know the only rule of the steam room is keep your towel on. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here. Masai, I'm going to start here because this is the reason, and I told our producer, Michael Kaplan, a couple months ago, said we have to have Masai on because I was in the church the day that Dikembe Mutombo's funeral was held. And it was the most powerful eulogy in a room full of great speakers, Masai included. But Masai's eulogy of Dikembe Mutombo and what he meant to his country, what he meant to the league, what he meant to him personally, was the most powerful thing I have ever watched, Masai. And I know that it was difficult, but it was also something that you carried off with such grace. And a lot of it centered around Nelson Mandela and your opportunity to meet him and how you considered Dikembe Mutombo your Mandela. There is no time restriction on this story. So go ahead and please retell it and let those folks who are listening in the steam room kind of soak this in.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks, Ernie, and thanks, Chuck. You guys are favorite people in the world, and you guys make us happy every week, and make us feel the game. So I truly appreciate you guys having me on. And Dikembe Mutombo, everybody knew him. I traveled with him, around the world for 20 years. When I first started as a scout, Dikembe Mutombo treated me, like a little brother, and treated me the same exact way, 23 years ago, until when he passed, and I have never seen somebody, devote himself, and I was just so lucky to be around this and around a person like this. Just incredible commitment to people, to youth, to community, to women, to the NBA, and to the game, and for somebody to draw all of this, together. Honestly, Ernie, Chuck, people ask me, how do you go into all these rooms? How do you, with presidents, with people, and then you go into community. I learned from him. I learned from actually the best, because he drew people in, with his great heart, with the person that he was, and I truly appreciated that. And it's so unfortunate in life, when it hits you when somebody passes. Dikembe Mutombo was too young to die. Dikembe Mutombo was too young, not to be, with us. And we miss him, so much. But what he prepared, for us. I went on a 6-day trip with Dikembe Mutombo to Kinshasa, to his home. And the time I spent with Dikembe and everything that he was involved in and what he did, from his hospital in his mother's name to the city of Kinshasa, to going to his village, Mujumbai. We built a court together there, spending time there, and then visiting his hospital. His hospital is one of the most unbelievable places I've ever been, because of the attention paid there. how clean it is, what he did, And when you go there, you see everybody that has donated to his hospital. You see their names everywhere. All around there, you see NBA people, like their names everywhere. And what a person, as fierce and competitor he was. Like that heart was bigger than everything you could ever think. And every day we miss him, we pray for his family, Rose and the kids, and it was a blessing, to be close to a person like that.
What year was it when you met Mandela? And you and Deke were together, correct?
Yes. In Basketball Without Borders, we've done Basketball Without Borders for about 20 years together. In our second Basketball Without Borders, there was an opportunity for, I think, 6 or 7 of us to go meet Nelson Mandela. And we walk into Nelson Mandela's house, and it was the office part of his house. And luckily for me, at the time when we were looking at all the pictures in the office and some of the memorabilia in there, and luckily for me, when Mandela actually walked in, I was actually standing in a corner with Dikembe Mutombo, and he walks straight to Dikembe Mutombo, straight to him, and says, "Good to see you, young man. It's incredible what you are doing for your people in Africa. Don't ever stop." And think about it, guys. I was just a scout at the time, a scout just running around, and now I'm in the presence of Dikembe Mutombo and Nelson Mandela. And this is 20 years before Dikembe has even done, and he had been doing so much and more than now that everything that he's done. To be in the presence of that, and have that in my memory, have that, the pictures. Nelson Mandela looked at me and he said, that's a great smile you have, young man. And I don't know if it was a smile or my mouth was open, I can't remember, but I was in awe, just to stand, right there. And to remember those two know where they are, I know they're in heaven in a great place, and they are together. It blows my mind that we have all these memories, but as we lose these people, and it's just, you appreciate so much, the friendships, the people, and the opportunity that this league, this NBA and basketball has given me and many others.
Masai, I do a lot of speaking to different companies and different sporting teams and things like that. I stole something from you, which is probably one of the most amazing things. When we had you on, you said your mentor, I can't remember his name, he says, the reason most people are not successful, they spend more time worrying about their next job instead of being great at the job they got. Can you refresh our memory who sold you that? Because it is so profound. It sounds so simple, but people do spend more time worrying about their next job than being great at the job they have.
Yes, and it's so true. If you are great at what you do, you will rise. Yeah, no matter how. And if you are talented in what you do, you'll be found for sure. There's barely anybody in this world that has been overly talented, incredibly dedicated and passionate about what they do. Yeah, it might take a longer time. Yeah, it might take another path. Yeah, you might have to, jump some hurdles, but in the end, I think a lot of people waste too much time. They do waste too much time thinking about, what's coming next, rather than, focusing on be good at what you are doing, be very good. And if you want to venture, if you want to go do other things, if you want to learn other things, it's okay. It's okay to spread your mind, but be very passionate of where your position is. And I'm telling you, you'll find a way. You'll find a path. You'll find those people that will notice. There are always people around that notice, selfless people and the people that do it through dedication.
Masai, how do you how do you maintain an even keel? Look, in 2019, that was the mountaintop in terms of an NBA championship. And, within 5 years now, look, it's a rough year, 8-28. So how do you reconcile those two things about the heights and the lows of what this job brings you?
Yeah, it's, I think, Ernie, it's the understanding, of the cycle of sports. There is a cycle in sports, and it's just difficult to stay on top, all the time and to win all the time. And organizations, teams, players, we all go through it, and I knew that there would be a time when you're not able to retool anymore, they're not able to refresh anymore, and you're going to have to go through a rebuild. Like most organizations, I don't think there's any that hasn't gone through it. You have to set up a culture, where when you're going through it, I'm proud that we have young players. I'm proud that we were able to win for very many years. I'm proud that we have an organization that's built, from strong ownership and a strong followership from fans, and we're a stable organization. And the cycle of sports just says that at some point you're going to go through these rebuilds. And how are your character? How are you personable? How are you treating people? How are you holding up your organization in a respectable ways? How are you communicating to your fans? Because in our jobs, Ernie, we serve the fans. First of all, we serve ownership, we serve the NBA, we serve our fans, I serve the players, I serve the coaches, we serve the people that work with us, and we serve the media. So there's 7 bosses I really have, and you have to really be able to communicate even in tough times with all of them, with all 7 of my bosses. And that's the way I take this job. And if you do it, I think respectfully, and you stay on top of it, you try to see the vision of it, try to be creative as much as you can. You keep learning. Every day you learn. Listen, I've never done a rebuild in the NBA. As long as I've been in the NBA, I've never, ever done it. As long as I've been the leader of an NBA team, I've never done a rebuild, and this is the first time. And it is a big challenge, but I also find it refreshing. I find working with young players again, the 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds, those players don't win in the NBA. You have to build over time, and they get to a certain place. You see where Tatum and Brown are. They've gone through it, Even OKC, players are young. They started at a young time, but they've gone through this for how many years, where they've built. You give props, to these people that build from scratch and are able to win. So I truly understand the cycle, but I respect what everybody else does in this NBA. But because everybody's job has a challenge, and I totally respect that.
You're so good at your job. You draft players, but a lot of them have been leaving after a certain period of time because of the financial situation, and you're not really going to get free agents. So have you ever just I'm great at my job, which you are. I said the other night, I think you and Sam Presti are the 2 best general managers, presidents, whatever you want to use, guys in the NBA. Everybody y'all's draft can play, but there's always financial restrictions. You got Siakam, who's a hell of a player. You have to let him go. There's a couple more players you have to let go. Do you ever just I might have to make a move at some point? Have you ever came close to that?
I think the challenge, Chuck, always is, I've always taken on that challenge of where you are is is who you serve. And I truly believe that. I never try to look at what my next opportunity or where the good Lord is going to, take me. I believe in Toronto. I believe in winning here. That's what I believed when we won. I believe in growing. It is our jobs. That's why we get paid. It's our jobs to figure this out, whether it's the new CBA, whether it's players. I'm not one of those persons that is going to come and sit here getting paid money and complain that players don't want to come play in Toronto or free agents don't want to come here. By the way, there's not even free agency anymore. That doesn't exist in the NBA anymore. Players plan to go where they want to play. That's the new free agency. If we're all being real, that's the real free agent. There's nobody ever waits till the summer, and I'm talking big free agents. No, we don't do that anymore. You go and you present and this player is coming. These players know pretty much what they want to do, and I think with the international landscape and the way the NBA is going, which all the ways from a media standpoint, from a global standpoint, I think there's going to be opportunities here. For those type of players, this is going to be a market, I think, in the near future, that players will want to come here. But in the meantime, we have to build. We have to build with what we have, and that's going to be the draft. That's going to be with trades. Hopefully that's going to be maybe unseen talent, players that maybe we can identify that maybe we're not identified, but. Trust me, we're not complaining here. I don't sit here and cry about anything, and we don't. We know we have an incredible fan base. We have a great ownership, and it's a great place. It came a time when we had to rebuild. I know some of these players really wanted to stay, but it just came a time where we had reached a ceiling. And when you reach that ceiling, Chuck, you guys know, that sometimes you're just kind of beating against, the wall, and you have to make those changes and let them go to other places, maybe to go flourish, But in terms of me, I think this is where I am, and I truly appreciate the NBA and the opportunity I've been given.
Well, number one, you are, as I've said many times, you're in my favorite city in the world. I tell people Toronto is one of the best kept secrets in the world. I love that city. But from a basketball standpoint, from what I'm hearing from college coaches, Africa is the next big thing when it comes to players. You probably know that better than anybody. I know Adam Silver and the guys have really invested a lot of money in Africa the last X amount of years. But talking to college coaches, they're like, Africa is gonna be the new hotbed for players in the next couple years.
Honestly, Chuck, the demographic and population says that, 1 out of every 4 people in the world by 2030, I think it is, or 2050 it is going to. 1 out of every 4 people will be from Africa. That tells you, that there's going to the median age in Africa is 20. It's the growing demographic in the world, and this is going to with sports is going to make a change. We see it happening in soccer. It's only a matter of infrastructure. We've done all the camps in the world. I think the NBA is doing an incredible job in investing in the Basketball Africa League. But we have to build infrastructure there. As we continue to build courts and to build arenas and facilities where players and youth can go play, it's practically like unstoppable. You go to countries like Congo, that's where Dikembe, Serge Ibaka, Bismarck Biyombo, or Cameroon, where Siakam and Embiid and Luke Bamute and all these guys. Or you look at South Sudan, you look at Nigeria, the talent is incredible. You're walking around and seeing footers everywhere, and both women, men. It's incredible, and as the facilities continue to grow, I tell you what, Ernie, Chuck, watch American football. this coming weekend and pay attention to the back of every jersey and see how many Africans are actually playing in the NFL. It is incredible. Guess what? American football is not even played. It's not even played in Africa. It's not even played there. There are 4 kids that have come from our camps, Giants of Africa camp, come to the school, come to the United States in school that actually play like in the NFL. So they change sport because they're just physically like so talented. Do we have the facilities? It's slowly growing, slowly trying to get there. And I think that's going to be the challenge over the next decade. And if that overcomes, then you're going to see more and more and more and more because the talent is just in abundance, even the ones that actually go to Europe. I think we said, like when France won the World Cup in soccer, we said Africa won the World Cup because there were so many players there were so many players that were from Africa, like from that played on the French national team. But it is encouraging to see all this youth. You think of Pascal or Embiid or all these guys, like Serge, all of them that have come from there and are doing so well. Young players are only going to watch them even more, and inspire. And everybody watches on the phone now. Like back in the day, we relied on VHS, to watch Charles Barkley, but now everybody watches on their phone. Yeah, I will never ever forget, growing up in Africa and Chuck watching you. It was amazing, watching Michael Jordan, watching Larry Bird, watching Magic Johnson. And I wanted to say, Chuck, I just got to say this on this show. One of the first Mandela events I did, you came, Magic Johnson came, and Dikembe Mutombo came. And on that stage, still have the videotape, and it was one of the incredible moments that we've had because all you guys did was tell stories and tell stories and tell stories. The game even started. The NBA game even started, and nobody wanted to leave our practice facility that day, and all they did was listen to you. So Africa, I think, is coming. It's going to be huge.
I'll tell you one of the most humbling days of my life. I was on the dream team, and Bishop Desmond Tutu came in, and we were all like, oh, my God, this is the most amazing thing ever. This we're saying to ourselves, like, we're going to get to meet Bishop Desmond Tutu. And he says, I want you guys to sit back and relax for a minute and tell you what an honor it is to meet you guys. And we like, what? He says, you guys don't understand. In our country, the way we've been treated, one of the few joys we got was to watch you guys play sports. And I came here personally to thank you. And Ernie, I almost started crying.
Yeah.
I got so emotional. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys going through all that crap y'all been through over there, and we're honored to meet you. But he says, I want to personally thank you guys because in our darkest times, getting a chance to watch y'all play basketball. And man, we talked about it for that was one of the most humbling things. So Masai, man, it's basketball has been so amazing to me in my life. And when you said what you said, and when Bishop Tutu said that, I was like, man, it's always bigger than basketball.
It is, Chuck. You guys have no idea, how happy you make people when we watch your shows. It's amazing. You're crying with laughter. 8 in 28, but you're crying in laughter watching some of this stuff. On there. And it's joyful. It's our league. It's who we are. And it's what we know, right? That's why it's tough when you lose a Dikembe Mutombo or Kobe Bryant, David Stern, all these guys, and it's at some point it's too much, man. This family is, as much as we compete against each other, we go against each other, at the end of the day, it is the NBA, and the NBA is special.
It is always an honor, always a pleasure to speak with you, Masai Ujiri. Thank you so much for for taking the time with us. And thanks for the reminder that even if your title is president, you're here to serve. I love that. I appreciate you.
God bless you guys. Thank you. And I'm coming to see you guys. I'm coming to see you guys in Atlanta to give you your itinerary for Africa.
Come on.
Chuck, I'm coming to see you, man.
We're going to Africa this summer. You have my word on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Back at you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know how sometimes when you talk to somebody, you feel you like some people you just talk to, you're like, I feel better knowing that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know who would be a great commissioner when the day arises?
Masai?
That dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Chuck and Ernie in the steam room. Come and join us in the steam room. Chuck and Ernie in the steam room. Leave your towel on in the steam room.
Chuck and Ernie in the steam room. Chuck and Ernie in the steam room. Leave your towel on in the steam room.
We welcome you back.
That's kind of like Bruno.
It's been a little while now since we've done a pod because of the schedule around the holidays.
Yes.
Has it been so much of a delay that you would have forgotten the number on Chuck's answering machine?
404-987-0330.
Excellent work. Excellent work.
See, Ernest, I think sometimes you think I'm just a pretty face.
No, I never think that. Here's the first call.
Hello, world. This is Charles Barkley. Leave me a message.
Hey guys, this is Ons calling from Boston, loyal steamer, and also a dentist. Charles, I heard what you said during the last episode about soaking your teeth in peroxide twice a day. I've heard a lot of things, but I haven't heard that one. So I thought to myself, why does Charles Barkley need hydrogen peroxide twice a day, every day? At first I thought, maybe he's trying to use it for whitening. Maybe he saw on a whitening paste, it said hydrogen peroxide. He's like, you know what? I can get this on the low, and I can whiten my teeth. But I'm going to tell you, that one's the wrong formulation. It's not going to work. So then finally, I was like, maybe this guy's got a lot of chromogenic bacteria stains on his teeth from a high iron diet, from eating like broccoli and kale. So I was like, all right, let me message some of my colleagues, see if they know something I don't know. And every single person literally responded and said, what? Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't use hydrogen peroxide as a daily mouth rinse unless if you're told to by a healthcare professional. I hope that helps.
Wow, that's impressive that a
all,
healthcare professional
one,
from Boston would reach out.
We appreciate it. Thinking there's going to be spinach and broccoli on my teeth.
Or kale. There ain't a chance.
I will
kale.
definitely eat some kale on a salad.
Okay, I thought you said kale wasn't a thing.
No, it's not. It's just overpriced lettuce.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll eat kale.
All right.
When I go to Chopped, I will get kale every now and then, but I'm never going to eat broccoli and spinach ever. Ever.
Look what it did for Popeye. Spinach.
Yeah. That old ugly as olive oil?
I'm talking about the mussels.
Okay. With all those mussels, he can only get olive oil?
Are you going to stop your?
So look, I'm gonna tell you. So when I went to the dentist, he had that blue bottle
of mouthwash.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's got peroxide in it, and I had heard that mouthwash really wasn't good for you. I would love to get an answer to that question. People said mouthwash is not good for you, so I deducted if the dentist is using a mouthwash with peroxide. That's where it came from, Dr. Feel Good up in Boston. That's what happened.
Next.
Hi, Charles. This is Chi-Chi in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. And my question for you is, who would win in a spelling bee? You or Shaq? Thanks.
She said Toronto, Ontario. Chi-Chi, right?
Mm-hmm. Who would win in a spelling bee between you and Shaq?
Listen,
Shaq, he's got several doctorates, so I'd go with Shaq.
No, first of all, those are honorary. They don't count. All you got to do is give somebody money. They'll give you an honorary doctorate.
Spell honorary.
Shaq.
Spell honorary.
HONORORY.
Almost.
Wait, what did I miss?
You said honorary.
Wait,
It's honorary.
Is an A in there?
Yeah.
Well, they don't pay me to spell.
Yeah. I'm taking Shaq. Next.
Ask him tonight to spell honorary on the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. Next one.
Hi, Charles and Ernie. My name is Joanne. I'm a loyal steamer from Southern California. First of all, I love you guys. Your podcast is my boyfriend Michael and my favorite. We listen together on long road trips out of town. As we come to the end of the year and reflect, remaining hopeful for 2025, I struggle because this has been one of the hardest years of my life. Losing both my parents and being laid off from my longtime job. I look for those blackberry moments, Ernie. I swear I do. But it's so easy to let life bring you down. And I'm working on staying optimistic for the new year. You both radiate such a great attitude, and it shines through on television and in your podcast. How do you both maintain such an inspiring mindset when life sets you back? Also, can you please have some steam room merchandise available? I know your loyal steamers would love to support you and share it with others. Wow. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you for that call. And I'm with you. I think steam room merch would be a good thing.
You want to answer first and a second?
You go.
For me, probably to a fault, young lady, I have been accused of being unemotional at times. I have been the leader of my family since I was 16. I had a younger brother who passed away, so I had two brothers. Another one passed away, and I had a mother and a grandmother. And I've always, since I was 16, I've been the leader of my family. And I never want to get emotional and panic, because if I do that, everybody else going to follow. Probably is one of my biggest faults. I will admit that, not getting emotional. But the point I want to make is bad stuff is going to happen. I don't mean to be unemotional, but I know I have to keep going. No matter who you are in life, good stuff going to happen, bad stuff going to happen. You just have to keep going. It's like I say, it's probably a fault of mine not being emotional enough when somebody dies or something like that. But I've always felt like, as the leader of my family, I have to always keep going, because if you're gonna get upset, over emotional every time some bad stuff happen, you're gonna go crazy. Because no matter who you are, rich, famous, black, white, orange, blue, shit's going to happen. You just have to keep going.
And I'll answer that with our good for the soul for this week, the way we always end the pod.
EJ is good for the soul.
I think that would be a great way to end the show.
Love that idea.
Good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town.
Because, Chuck, you're right. We all got stuff. I mean, so you never think that, well, I'm the only one going through this. But, look, the last 3 years have been tough for our family. Lost a son, lost my mom, lost both of my sisters. Mm. And so we had my sister Chris's celebration of life the other day on Saturday. And she passed from cancer at 72. But you know what was good for the soul? Was we gave people at the service an opportunity to speak about her. And for a long time, she was a teacher at a little school called Hickory Flat Elementary School in Canton, Georgia. Taught 6th grade.
Wow.
Had a guy come up to me before the service and said, your sister taught me in 6th grade. He said, I've been through every level of school, including law school. I've never had a teacher like her. a couple other students address everybody there and talked about how she was their favorite teacher because she challenged them. And then another who said, the reason I'm a teacher today is because she was my teacher in 6th grade. So amidst all the stuff that crushes you at a time like this, it's like moments like that are good for the soul. Moments like that where I look at my sister's life.
She made a difference.
And it's a lesson to all of us that you never know, even the things that you do that might seem insignificant to you. The moment that she told this student who was memorizing a poem that it was a short poem, that she looked at her and said, "That's fine, but you can do better, can't you?" That moment resonated with this woman for the rest of her life. And so let's not lose sight of that. Lose sight of the fact that even in the most mundane moments, even the things that might seem like, oh, this is just a run-of-the-mill day, you can be influencing somebody for the rest of their lives. And what my sister did, my sister loved she could make quilts, she could make rugs. And these are not things that you can say, hey, I'm going to go home today and make a quilt. I mean, these things take time and can't be rushed and can't be hurried, and they're done with love. And so that's what I took away that day from my sister also was that's how I'm going to do life. Unrushed, unhurried, with love. And it was good for the soul.
Good job, brother.
Today. That's it for today. Been a great pod. Been great being with you again, as
Glad
always.
to be back, brother.
And we'll see you all next time. Thank you, loyal steamers, for listening.